The Brandenburg Gate, a symbol for so much recent German history. It's become a landmark for countless visitors to Berlin, a city full of charm, character, and camaraderie. Of course, it was every man and woman for themselves during the ranking rounds, held on the grounds outside the iconic stadium built for the 1936 Olympics. Those games made famous in part by the great track star Jesse Owens. The question now, who would rise up and become the star of Germany's first ever World Cup event and qualify for the finals in Rome? The race for Rome included a stop at Stage 3 Salt Lake City and the Eastern Archery Center. That's where Korea's Chung Hee-jin secured her spot at next month's World Cup finals. The same goes for American stalwart Brady Ellison, a longtime fixture at the finals who will once again join fellow champions at Stadio de Marmi. Recurve Sunday found the Frenchmen in the team finals. Pierre Plion, Thomas Giraud, and Jean-Charles Valedon trying to end their nation's 6-year gold medal drought in men's team competition. France had not taken the top spot on the podium since Antalya 2011. Under sunny skies in Berlin, they would do battle with the Netherlands. Olympian Chef Vandenberg, along with Rick van den Over and Steve Vailoch, victors over the USA and Russia in the quarterfinals and semifinals at Stage 4, were now hoping to exceed the expectations of head coach Ron van der Hoef. As we pick up the match in set 3, so far so good for the Dutchman who split the first set and took the second for a 2-point lead. Thomas Giraud leads off for France and lights the way for his fellow countrymen. Pierre Plion locks on to those same coordinates and lands his shot in almost exactly the same place. Expectations running high as the man ranked second in the world steps to the line, but the world is full of surprises, and Jean-Charles provided a big one. It's a golden opportunity for the Dutch. Chef, solid. Same goes for Rick van den Over. But Steve Vailoch misses his chance to knot the score in this pivotal set. The Dutch are down by 2 now, with Thomas Giraud back on the line, replicating his previous attempt. Plion remains a picture of consistency, piercing the 9 ring once again. And Jean-Charles makes amends for the 8 on his last shot. The gold medalist on Konialty Beach 2 months ago, displaying the form that put him on the podium that day. Valedon puts the set out of reach and clinches 2 very important points for France. Chef knows he needs to stay in rhythm and focuses on shooting another good shot. The same holds true for his teammate, Rick van den Over. And Steve Vailoch just needs to get the bad taste out of his mouth from his last attempt. So those 3 arrows, far from meaningless for a Dutch team that still had just as good a chance to capture the goal. There's always hope those kinds of shots will carry over into the next set and propel the team to even greater heights. Of course, the same could hold true for France, a squad so hungry for its first medal of the season, they switched the order of the rotation, moving Giraud into the top spot, placing Pierre Plion in the middle of the lineup. The crowd in Berlin fired up for the 4th set. The Netherlands looking to the chef to get something cooking. The recipe called for a 10, but they'd have to settle for something less. Could van den Over add the necessary ingredient? Not necessarily. Not bad, not as much as the Orange men were looking for. Time for Steve Vailoch to pick his team up And the gold medalist from Stage 1 in Shanghai comes through with flying colors. France has to counter, and Thomas Giraud does just that, planting another arrow in the 9 ring. The middleman, Pierre Plion, waits a long time to pull the trigger, but when he does, he's on target. Another 9 sets the stage for Jean-Charles Valadon, who can tie the score with a 10. He follows the script. The gold medal still up for grabs with 3 arrows to go. Vandenberg keeps the Dutchman in contention as he leads off with a 9. Vandenover does the same, keeping his arrow just inside the line. So, same scenario. Valadon faced just moments ago. The table's set for young Steve Weilach, and he rises to the occasion, raising the bar and challenging France to match or beat a 28. Giraud accepts the challenge and picks up the gauntlet, catching the line for 10 big ones. Now it's time for Le Grand Plion to do his part. And Pierre puts his arrow right down the middle. It's dead center. And it might turn out to be the biggest shot of the match if Valadon can do his job and keep his arrow in the gold. The field archery champion is good as gold, and so is Team France. The drought is finally over. After a 6-year wait, France wins its first international title since 2011 in Antalya. The decision made during the match to switch up the rotation pays big dividends, the French scoring 57 points in each of the last 2 sets to change the direction of this match and lead to a 5-3 victory.
Ouais, sur cette dernière flèche, c'était particulièrement mouvementé sur
For
le radar,
me,
ça tremblait
that
pas mal.
last arrow,
Et,
well, it
m'a
was
rappelé une
difficult.
situation que
I was
j'ai
shaking
vécue
a
au jeu
lot.
en tir par
It
équipe.
reminded me of the
Où là, j'ai
Olympic
pas su la
Games,
coller dedans.
where I
Et
did
je
not
voulais
succeed
pas-
and
je voulais pas
score
revivre
as
ça,
I
quoi.
did
Ça
today.
s'arrêtait, c'était fini. Ça m'a
I
permis de
didn't
reprendre la
want to
main et
relive
puis-
that same
puis quand même
situation.
qu'on gagne, quoi, la somme
But
de toutes nos
today,
flèches, ça
all
fait
went
que,
well, and we were able to
on est sur
score
la bonne
enough
marche aujourd'hui.
to get the victory.
The modern archery target is a mixture between an English target and a French target. In the 1930s, an English target was simply 5 colors, whereas the French target was 10 rings. They couldn't decide which one to use, so they decided to combine them to give us the target we have today.
The target goes from 1 to 10. 10 is the perfect score.
Here, we've got a 122 centimeter diameter target shot by recurve archers at a distance of 70 meters away. This is an 80 centimeter target shot by compounds at 50 meters away. However, in international competition, they're very accurate and they don't need these rings. For indoor archery, we have a 40 centimeter target, but we're gonna take a ring away again. At 18 meters, archers are very accurate and can wreck your arrows if you shoot into one spot. So, they shoot on a 3 spot. This 10 ring is for recurve archers, and this is for compound archers.
If the arrow is touching the line, then it scores the highest value. If it's really close, and then if you can't decide, you can call a judge.
Mexico's Alejandra Valencia was after her first medal of the season and her first individual World Cup medal since 2013 in Poland. She was guaranteed to take one home from Berlin, but would it be silver or gold? To some degree, that would depend on her opponent. The last time Kong Chae-young reached the highest perch on the podium was more than 2 years ago. So the 6th seed from Korea had just as much motivation. And she started strong with a 9 on the line. But that also gave Alejandra a chance to jump out to the lead with her first shot. Instead, her opening arrow slides just right, and right away she's playing catch-up. Ms. Chong goes methodically about her business, hitting pay dirt on her second shot. And that brings out a sense of urgency in Alejandra. Valencia knowing full well how quickly things can slip away when you're competing against Korea's finest. She stays close for the moment. A moment when Kong Chae-young clinches the first set with 29 out of 30 points. Valencia's third shot would only matter if it provided feedback she could use in the next set, when she would try to make up the 2-point deficit and pull into a tie with Kong Chae-young. The chances of that happening took a turn for the worse when Valencia started the second set with a somewhat shocking 7. Like a shark smelling blood, Kong Chae-young would strike again, immediately taking control of the second set. The valiant Valencia did well to put her first shot behind her and almost joined the inner circle. Had she done so, she'd have trimmed a point off the lead in this set, as Ms. Kong's string of 10s finally came to an end. It did not seem to matter, though. Valencia back in the red zone, seemingly unable to put a good group together. That was not the case for Ms. Kong. A pair of 10s plus a 9 meant she was in fine form and in great shape to take this match, leading 4-0 and poised to make it a clean sweep. Now, none of this should have been surprising. Though she was seated 6th, this was the same woman who won 3 gold medals in Shanghai 2 years ago at stage 1. What was surprising, the 4th-seeded Valencia struggling as much as she was to find her comfort zone. She'd have to find it fast, or this would all be over very soon. No one was more keenly aware of that fact than Alejandra herself, and she responded. Hola, her first 10 of the match, bringing the crowd to life. The plot got even more interesting when Kong Chae-young offers up a 9, advantage Mexico. But on this day, Valencia just could not seem to embrace prosperity. She drops down into the danger zone on her second shot, so Ms. Kong doesn't need to be spectacular, she just needs to be solid, and she's all of that. A pair of 9s gives her the edge in a set that could decide the outcome. Valencia desperately needs a big-time shot, and she comes through in the clutch. Now she's got a chance to stay alive and keep fighting. By the same token, a 10 from Miss Kong means curtains for Alejandra. Kong goes for the kill, but it flies just a little too high. So these two women share the set points, and we play on, with Kong Chae-young still in command with a 5-1 lead. Valencia had beaten Veronika Marchenko and Elena Richter to get this far. Could she come all the way back against a woman who'd gotten the best of Deepika Kumari and Chong Hae-jin? The 22-year-old from Mexico could not afford another split. She had to win the next 2 sets to force a tiebreaker, and she was in good shape after the first shot of the 4th set. Turns out Ms. Kong would be in even better shape. Panning for gold, she finds another nugget and nudges past Valencia into the lead. Alejandra hanging on for dear life at this point. This arrow almost biting the line, but it's an 8. Things could be worse, though. Kong Chae-young throws her opponent a lifeline with an 8 of her own. So there's just 1 point separating these two with 1 shot to go in the 4th set. Desperately needing a 10, Valencia's fading fast. Another 8 that appears to seal her fate. Rolling out the red carpet for Kong Chae-young. who closes out the match on a high note. It's another golden moment for a young woman who waited 2 years to taste victory again. According to Ms. Kong, she had not been shooting all that well lately and wasn't happy with her game. But her confidence grew during stage 4, and she realized she needed to be more aggressive with her shooting, which she hopes will carry over to the fall if she's chosen to compete in Mexico City. Valencia, of course, will be in her nation's capital for the World Championships, and she's qualified for the World Cup finals too. But Korea will be sending Kibo Bae and Chung Hae-jin to Rome. I have not been shooting great, so I was not happy. But I was thinking that this was the last chance for the World Championships. So I tried to do what was needed. And this competition went well. So now I'm happy. I built more confidence in myself here at this tournament. I realized I needed more aggression in my shooting. Now, I feel like I can do better in the World Championships in Mexico City this fall. Kong Chae-young can only hope of making the World Championships since 2 teammates have already secured the 2 spots allowed each country at the World Cup finals. Deepika Kumari and Alicia Marin will be the ones paying a visit to Rome.
Shot, it bends like this. It may sound weird, but I'll explain to you why. A recurve archer shoots with their fingers, and on the bow, the arrow touches the rest on the bottom and the plunger on the side. Upon release, the force of the bowstring causes the back of the arrow to move faster than the front of the arrow. The arrow can't do anything but bend. Because the arrow has to come away from the fingers and around the bow, the arrow flexes side to side. As long as the nodes stay pointed towards the target, the arrow will fly straight. A compound archer uses a mechanical release aid instead of their fingers, and the rest only touches the arrow from the bottom. Since there is no side-to-side movement, and the force of the bowstring is only vertical, the arrow moves up and down. The nodes are the point on the arrow that do not bend with the rest. And that is how an arrow bends.
The men's main attraction was once again a Korean affair featuring the top seed Kim Woo-jin. Number 1 in Berlin, number 1 in the world, Mr. Kim would be making his 3rd appearance in a gold medal match this summer, but still looking for his first gold medal on the 2017 outdoor circuit. This time, his nemesis would be another teammate, rookie Kim Jung-ho, a serious young man who qualified 15th but fought his way through the field, defeating some of the top names in men's recurve to reach this marquee matchup. If he was at all nervous about being on the big stage in front of a big crowd and all the cameras, it did not show. After dropping the first set, he opened the second with an eye-opening shot, and that got Kim Woo-jin's attention. Just as expected, this was going to be tight. And as the saying goes, Kim Jung-ho's as cool as the other side of the pillow. What 21-year-old rookie competing in his first World Cup medal match puts together shots like that? You had to be impressed by his poise and skill, qualities Kim Woo-jin had to be well aware of. Then again, the 2-time world champion's no slouch. He may have slipped just a bit on his second arrow, But the smart money's still on the veteran. All of his experience had to be telling him his young opponent would stumble from time to time, which is exactly what happened on the final shot of the second set. Close, but not quite. He settles for a 29 and might have to settle for a split. But Mr. Kim can't connect and comes up 1 point short. The match is even at 2 apiece. Kim Woo-jin winning set 1 by a score of 29-28. Kim Jong-ho winning the second set by the same count. Now his elder would lead off the third set. Mr. Kim setting the tone and the bar for what could be a turning point in this match. Kim Jong-ho, smooth and graceful, draws back and parks his arrow just outside the center circle. He's down by 1. And now he's in danger of falling further behind after Mr. Kim lands another rocket in the 10 ring. Kim Jong-ho continues to play with fire, but this time he does not get burned. It bites the line and counts for 10. There can be no letting up for Kim Woo-jin. He's got his teammate hot on his trail, a teammate who had to be emboldened by that 9. There was still a chance to share this set, split the points, and remain tied at 3 apiece. But that theory went right out the window when Kim Jong-ho came in low and was left to wonder what might have been. So we move on to the fourth set. Kim leading Kim by the count of 4-2. Kim Jong-ho with his back against the wall, now needing to split or take this set. But this arrow's breaking bad. He's well off the mark. He's in deep trouble and he knows it. Kim Woo-jin's been here before and is trained to go for the kill, so his first arrow of the fourth set was somewhat surprising. A bit of a reprieve for young Mr. Kim, who turns down the gift from Kim Woo-jin. A chance to take the lead goes by the wayside for Kim Jong-ho, but not for Kim Woo-jin. He's been around long enough to know how to take advantage of an opportunity, and a 1-point lead is now his. Kim Jong-ho finally finds the range again and hits the jackpot on what might be his final shot. Too little, too late? At least he made sure it would take a 10 to beat him, and with no hesitation, Kim Woo-jin seals the deal. The final score, not indicative of just how evenly matched these two archers were. Each of the 4 sets decided by 1 point. Each of the 4 sets decided by the same score, 29-28. In the end, though, experience and wisdom prevailed. After vanquishing Chef Vandenberg and Marcus D'Almeida en route to this match, Kim Woo-jin finally claims a gold medal at the 4th and final stage on the Outdoor World Cup Tour. Still, Kim Jong-ho served notice he's a force to be reckoned with down the road. Just ask the man who defeated Kim Jong-ho on his way to the pot of gold. I had been a bit disappointed because I've made it to the finals before at several World Cup stages, but I finished with a silver medal. This time, I concentrated more, was more prepared, and had good form here in Berlin, so I'm pleased with the win. I've also been on 2 mixed teams this year and won a silver medal the first time in Shanghai. This time we were more competitive, and it was a great experience. If I can shoot on the Korean mixed team in the World Championships in Mexico, I feel we will shoot even better. Here's who made the cut for the World Cup Finals. Kim Woo-jin will be the favorite, but he'll be put to the test by the likes of In Dong-hyun, Brady Ellison, Steve Weilich, Jean-Charles Valadon, Wei Chun-heng, and Chef Vandenberg.